And when I sat here and thought about community power, I thought about this place called America. And in the 21st century, I really thought about what community meant. Community to me doesn't mean poor people or rich people. It doesn't quite just mean black people or white people. It certainly doesn't mean just Christians or Jews or Buddhists or Muslims or atheists or agnostics or pagans or whatever. It means humans. It means people. It means all of us working together. Now, if that is a shock to some of us, what humanity means, that is what I'm coming from today. I'm talking about a society when all of us can work together. Black people and white people, Asians and Latinos, rich and poor, Jewish and Muslim, atheists and Christians, all of us being humans. For some reason, we've lost that in this process. We have lost what it means to be community. April 4th of 2004, I got an award for speaking out. I was in Air Force. I was in the Air Force Chaplain Corps, and as an Air Force officer in the Air Force Chaplain Corps, they found it problematic that every sermon I was speaking about was Bush is a liar and the war is illegal, and they said, the chaplain, you can't preach that in the Air Force. And I said, but it's true. I said, we don't need to go to war. So they gave me an award, and I went to the balcony where Dr. King was killed. And on that balcony, on April 4th of 2004, I held up my fist, and I began to just have this crazy thought of that. I just felt the presence of this soldier who was killed, and I just couldn't imagine. Here I am getting this award, but it's not about us getting awards. It's about us saving the lives of our babies who are going off to war. It's about our local community saving the lives of our educational system, of our hospitals, of our community. So here I am on this balcony, and my fist is raised, and I'll never forget it, and I begin to get this feeling of this soldier who just died, another baby. And the same thing that I was talking about, because see, that war in Iraq has devastating effects on what we can do locally. If all of our money is going over there for this illegal war, then I don't care what we discuss. Nothing can happen here. If you have no money for school buses, you have no money for books, you have no money for a healthcare system, you have no money for anything that can be done on a local level, because all your money is going to war. You have no money for the levees so that people are drowned in New Orleans, then nothing's going to happen. So I look at that war as a direct attack on the poor and a direct attack on our democracy. So I'm on the balcony, fist raised, but I'm getting this feeling. And this feeling is this thing that this soldier, this baby just died. Even just sitting here, there are babies who are in the desert who are dying. I mean, so I look at these conversations very seriously. I don't like to just come here and talk about how bad this government is and what we can't do, we can do. We must do something, because there are men and women who are right now hunkered down in the desert. There are men and women who are in New Orleans who are still pissing in buckets, who are washing in cold water. There are men and women in Wisconsin, in your neighborhood and around, who don't have food to eat. In the heartland where there is cows and there is grazing and there's agriculture, they're starving. There is not the most vicious thing to imagine that right around milk, you don't have milk. Right around grain, you don't have grain. Right around beef, if you eat beef, I don't eat beef, but if you eat beef, they don't have beef. You don't have anything. People are starving in the heartland. You do a free giveaway of groceries and the line will extend around the block. So I'm on this balcony, fist raised, and I get this feeling of this soldier who was killed. And I don't know who it is, and I just start to almost weep. And I'm hip hop, so I don't want to weep. But, and so I'm on the balcony. And so anyways, about a year later, I'm telling the story. And then at the Take Back America conference, I'm telling a story in June of 2006, and I get a tap on the shoulder, and this tall woman, coming to me, and she's crying, and she goes that on April 4th, my son was killed, and I lost everything. And when I heard that knock at the door, And I thought about that baby I had carried for 9 months and took to kindergarten and took to grade school. And I kept hearing the knock, and I thought about the high school prom. And I thought about how proud I was of that baby, but I kept hearing the knock. I knew what that knock meant. I opened the door, and I knew when I saw them standing there, I knew what it meant. It meant that this war that this president sent my baby to, this war for greed, this war that has crippled our local economy, my baby was now dead. And I said, what's your baby's name? And she said, my baby's name was Casey Sheehan. And she was Cindy Sheehan. And I began to think, wow, how this war affects. And she didn't take that there. Cindy Sheehan didn't take that there. She began to follow this president wherever he went to find out what noble cause he died for. But the one thing that I found out in this process is that as we begin to build communities of power, we as a progressive movement must deal with some things. And I hope we can have this conversation because we got to deal with it now. I start by saying it can't be a black movement. It can't be a white movement. It can't be a straight movement. It can't be a gay movement. It can't be a Woodstock or a civil rights movement. It has to be a human movement. But the one thing that I found out in this movement, as we build communities of power, we have a segregated movement. When I come to rallies that are about peace, it's all white people. When I go to rallies for Katrina, it's all black people. When I go to rallies for immigration, it's all brown people. We will not win and we will not have community power unless we do not have a Jim Crow segregated movement. We must tear the walls down now so we can stop this fascism and this craziness called America.